Grab one. Holy shit, Staggerini Pepperini! Welcome everyone, Ace of Spades here from the kitchen. Today we're gonna do a little bit of a different video. We're gonna go over what you've tested on PTR, what works, what doesn't, and talk a little bit about the landslide, where the build is gonna go, and what are the possible variations. And I will show also my current build, which is the unfinished cooking, obviously being the first day of PTR. So let's start with the new gloves, the Bjornfang task. So if I want to play the Bjornfang task and I want to test out, there are some issues with the gloves which might turn you guys off. So as you can see, my ancestral guidance is not gonna work because I'm always spirit capped. Is it gonna work with the new helm? I do not have the new helm yet, but let me know in the comment if it works or if it does not work. Does this mean that the item is now not viable? Sorry, well, we have to do a little bit of math, okay? So there is a couple of things that go in the favor of the Bjornfang task. This build is currently using two bad aspects. I have to use accelerating and I have to use retaliation, which are pretty bad aspects, right? But we're getting 100% damage multiplier here. And then let's say that I am getting, because I'm able to run, if I run these gloves and I cannot run the new helm, I'm running Vasili's Prayer. If I run a Vasili's Prayer, I will be getting better damage from quick shift, let's say 28%. So 100 and then 28% more damage. And then I will also get a Changeling Depth, which is gonna be 75% damage, I believe, 80% damage instead of 45. So I guess I get an extra like 35% damage from Changeling Depth if I run the Bjornfang task. And of course, I do get the 100% multiplier from the gloves. So it's 100, 130. I'm doing rough maths for you guys. So with that setup, it is similar to what you would get from the new helm, which is 125 damage multiplier, which I think honestly is gonna get nerfed. So I believe that in the end it will get nerfed, and you're probably gonna end up playing with those gloves. But assuming it does not get nerfed, the new helm, playing the new helm is gonna be better than playing the Bjornfang task, if that happens to be the case. Fairly sure it will get nerfed though. So for now though, the Bjornfang tasks are not best in slot. It's better to play a normal pair of gloves and run Petrify as well instead. But that's okay. Alright, for the build, you want a new helm, you want chest with spirit. This is a bad one. You want GA spirit probably because the cost of the skill is gonna go up. And I know you're gonna be asking, but Mr. Streamer, if the cost of spirit goes up, why not playing with Ring of the Starless Sky? Well, because unlike the Cataclysm version of the build, with the Bjornfang task, which has permanent vulnerability uptime, you do need a ring slot to have vulnerability on it for the Glyph Earth and Sky. Now, it might be the case that if we really do need the resource cost reduction from Ring of the Starless Sky, first of all, it will be kind of toxic. I don't think you need it. But if you do, then you will play without vulnerability. For now, though, I do not think it's necessary. It's only 50% cost more. I think it's perfectly fine to handle it without it. But it's probably going to require decent gear. For gloves, I also have the pool, of course, on my chest. The new pool, the Wild Bolt. Not actually as good as you think it is, pulling enemies. It does not work as good as you think it does. It's only pulling a couple of enemies. It's definitely not a redoes, if that's what you were expecting. Gloves, I don't need actually crit chance. Currently, the build is playing with Earth and Might, meaning that you actually do not need a lot of crit chance. You prefer to have max life or willpower for more damage. Ranks to LANDSLIDE, of course, will be better. And damage to close is not needed on every slot anymore. But it's still your best multiplier. You probably do want at least one roll of crowd control damage, because if you notice, the staff does not give you crowd control damage. Because of that, we're gonna be uncapped. We're not gonna be 40% on Earth and Devastation. Alright. So for gloves, I have Subterranean Aspect, I have Tybalt's Will for resources, Metamorphosis for Tybalt's Will. I have Aftershock. Aftershock a little bit tricky. Each second time you deal additional damage per hit, you do more damage. And now that we have, you know, double the pillars, and you hit an enemy with it, every time you hit an enemy, it's 26% extra damage. Meaning that having double the pillars actually also doubles the bonus damage from this aspect. And this was already your two-handed aspect for Landslide because of this mechanic. Meaning that actually this build should hopefully do 4 times as much damage as it did before.
It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
Compared to the previous season, which is quite impressive. So, probably gonna be the best build by far. This thing really, the Aftershock thing is what really is gonna propel this build above Landstorm and not allow Landstorm to be competitive. It's gonna be the Aftershock thing, unless it is considered a bug and gets nerfed. Do not mind my Defiance Amulet. In fact, I had tested this build and Landstorm and found out that even with the Defiance Amulet, this build, Landslide, was outperforming my more optimized Landstorm build. Meaning that I think there's a 99% chance that Landslide will be the better build among the two of them. For the Amulet, again, crit chance is not gonna be needed. Max life or willpower is fine if you're playing with Earth and Might. We have Accelerating on the Ring. Again, we're gonna have to see if we end up playing with the Bjornfang gloves or not. If we end up not playing with it, then we can change this for maybe Ring of the Starless Sky or something else. Maybe even Hunter Zenith for the quick shift. The Earthbreaker, of course, we play the Earthbreaker. For glyphs, I have max life because I'm capped of attack speed. I'm using the Lucky Hit Chance and attack speed potion. You cannot do double potion anymore. So you can either get 20% life or you can get a 20% life potion. It's pretty much, it's similar. You get more Lucky Hit Chance if you play with the Lucky Hit Chance potion. It's a minor difference. If you do not want to play with potion, then probably you do this to cap attack speed if you're not capped already. So we have Pack Leader and we have Calm Before the Storm. Calm Before the Storm, of course, to get Petrified back. We get Petrified back really easily now because we have double the pillar, so more Lucky Hit Chance to proc that. A quick overlook over the skill talent. Of course, you do Primal Landslide. I'm playing Shred for mobility, and also because Shred allows me to activate my quick shift whenever I feel like having it. And that's a lot of damage, it's 24% damage. And you only have to use it once every 8 seconds. So it's definitely a damage loss if you do not keep your quick shift up. Second armor, 1 point. Blood Owl for the attack speed. 1 point in Poison Creeper, even though I do not have to take it because I have Shaco, but you want to get out of Shaco, you want the new helm. You want Crushing Earth, Safeguard. You want to have Defensive Posture. Actually, you can and cannot use it. You kinda can. With Shaco, I actually can remove those 3 points around here, or you can remove the points from Ancestral Fortitude, and that allows you to have 1 more defensive passive, or 1 more damage passive, depending what you want. So for now, thanks to Shaco, I have 3 points extra, but if not, you can either remove points from defensive posture, or from Ancestral Fortitude, if you have enough resistances. Of course, we take Petrify, and of course, we take Earth and Might. For the Paragon board, I have Spirit, I have Earth and Sky, I have Outmatch in Constricting Tendrils, and this board will need to be optimized and reworked. The reason I took this build was because I was trying to cap my crowd control damage without rolling crowd control damage on my items, and also because I wanted to try Constricting Tendrils in case to poison enemies, in case Poison Creeper did not work properly. But Poison Creeper works properly. This is still a good board. You still get HP, you still get damage. It's still good. I will want to optimize this Paragon board in the future. But as you know, Paragon board get optimized for months. It's gonna be a long time till it gets perfectly optimized. I have Earth and Devastation, of course, with Human. I have Ancestral Guidance with Undaunted. Undaunted got buffed, it's pretty good. I have Territorial, and I also take damage reduction against the vulnerable enemies, which we vulnerable ourselves. You take the card control damage here, which is kind of nice, and crit damage. And I finish up by taking Heightened Malice for the 45% AoE damage against the mobs. And also that works really well with the new aspect, the Wild Bolt aspect. That pulls enemies, you get the poison down pretty easily. And that's as far as I've gotten for now. I have changed this build. This build was actually from the Aftershock thing. There is a Korean player that plays a build. I will leave a link down below to the build on Mobalytics with the name of the Korean player, which I do not remember. And he plays this build on live with Vasily and with Changeling Depth. But again, for PTR, Landslide is gonna be different. It's not gonna be triple paths, and it's probably not gonna be Vasily. So we're gonna have to, of course, Landslide is gonna have to go through some diversification and improvement on the build for PTR and for forward. But this build actually, you know, it should be stronger comparatively to how Windshear was this season. So it's definitely gonna be a strong build. It has gotten 4 times as much damage as before and was already a pretty good build. So I am pretty hyped. If we get a little bit more buffs, this build is going to be really good this season. But even though I'll be taking now my plane and be away from a day or two, I have my best man Lemona and Ronix and other people and all the other top Druid players trying things out, and we've discussed what things to try. And we'll test things and let you guys know what we think is gonna be best for next season. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in a couple of days when I'm down from the plane, if I don't die. See ya!